first find a comfortable seat and just for a moment feel the earth that supports us, so feel the ground beneath us. And close your eyes. When you look at a tree during a storm, you see that its branches and leaves are swaying back and forth violently in the strong wind. You have the impression that the tree will not be able to withstand the storm. You are like that when you are gripped by a strong emotion. Like the tree, you feel vulnerable. You can break at any time. But if you direct your attention down to the trunk of the tree, you see things differently. You see that the tree is solid and deeply rooted in the ground. If you focus your attention on the trunk of the tree, you realize that because the tree is firmly rooted in the soil, it cannot be blown away. Each of us, in a sitting or standing position, is like the tree. When the storm of your emotion is passing by, you should not stay in the thick of the storm, the level of the brain or the chest. When you are overwhelmed by strong emotions, don't stay there, it's too dangerous. Bring your focus down to your navel, that is the trunk, the most solid part of yourself, and practice mindful breathing. Become aware of the rise and the fall of your abdomen. Doing this in a stable position, such as the sitting position, you feel much better. Just breathe. Don't think of anything. Breathe through the movement, the rise and the fall of your abdomen. Practice in this way for 10 or 15 minutes, and the strong emotion will pass on through. And then take a deep, deep, deep breath in. And with your exhalation, slowly open your eyes. So I found this passage in the book of Thich Nhat Hanh called Fear, Essential Wisdom for Getting Through the Storm. And I found it fits quite well to Jules Febre's focus of the month of November called Rooted Strength. So in the focus of the month, Jules describes our spiritual journey as a living ecosystem that is only sustainable if it has a stable and a strong foundation. So when a seed starts to grow, its very first movement is not an upward movement, but it's a downward movement. So before the seed ever reaches the light, it first reaches down to the soil, to the dark soil. And in that soil, it creates roots. And these roots are sometimes not visible at first. They are unseen, quiet, but really strong. And it's this simple act in nature that tells us that stability comes before expansion. And Patanjali tells us the same in Sutra 114. So Patanjali says that our spiritual journey or our practice can only be firmly grounded if it's done with consistency, with devotion, and over a long period of time. And it's this firm ground that will help us to grow. So in a way, the roots that Jules is describing, they are the unseen, or let's say the unspectacular parts of our practice. So they are the parts of getting up early in the morning to meditate, or to showing up every day on the mat, or really these small acts of compassion that are not seen by anyone, that we do every day. And it's these small acts that hold us together when our life gets really turbulent. So sometimes we are distracted, and this distraction leads to a feeling of disconnection to the practice. So we sometimes feel these moments where we are disconnected to our teachers, our practice, or we have not this sense of belonging. And for me personally, that comes when there are small things like I go to bed too late in the evening, I don't manage to get up in the morning, or I eat unhealthy for a while and I have really low energy, or I work too much. So these are the things that prevent me from being consistent in my practice. But sometimes there are also these moments, these difficult moments in life where you have a moment of grief or an illness that prevent us from being consistent in our practice. And it's in that moments that we can reach to our satsang. So the satsang being the company of our friends, of teachers, of other students, so that we can get inspired again and that we come back to this strong foundation, so this consistency in the practice. And if we don't have a satsang nearby, we could be inspired by reading sacred texts, for example. So this would be one way also to come back to this consistency. And I have a dear teacher who he always said that he really started practicing, or let's say his spiritual path only started when he stopped negotiating with himself. So when he stopped listening to all the excuses that he had to get up in the morning to practice. And so he always says, don't be just a good weather practitioner. So this is what we can try to do this month, not only this month, but we can try to not be only the good weather practitioner.
Lokasa